Every time you start your engine after an oil change, there are 4 to 10 seconds where metal is touching metal inside your engine that should never touch at all. The reason? Whether your oil filter went on empty or already full. A popular internet myth says filling it first is actually wrong, that it puts dirty, unfiltered oil straight into your engine. In this video, we'll tell you exactly what happens inside your engine during those seconds, and exactly which oil is actually dirtier, the bottle or your engine itself. By step 3, you'll know the simple rule that decides everything. Step 1. Understanding what dry start actually means. Picture the inside of your engine the moment you turn the key, right after a fresh oil change. The old oil and old filter are gone. New oil is sitting in the pan at the bottom of the engine. The new filter, if it went on empty, has nothing inside it yet. Every internal passage in that engine, from the main bearing journals to the camshaft lobes, is essentially coated in nothing but a thin residual film and waiting for fresh oil to arrive. When you turn the key, the oil pump starts spinning immediately, but it has a job to do before any oil reaches your bearings, your camshaft, or any other moving part. It has to physically push oil up through the pickup tube, through the empty filter, filling every pleat of the filter media, before pressure can build high enough to register on your dashboard gauge and start forcing oil into the engine's internal passages. The filter itself isn't a small component in this chain. Depending on the design, a typical automotive oil filter can hold anywhere from half a quart to a full quart of oil once it's completely saturated, and every bit of that volume has to be displaced by the pump before pressure builds anywhere downstream. That filling process takes time, usually only a handful of seconds, but during those seconds, your engine is already running. The crankshaft is already spinning. The rod bearings are already moving against the crankshaft journals thousands of times per minute, with essentially nothing protecting them. This is what mechanics call a dry start, and it is widely considered the single most damaging moment in your engine's entire operating life, repeated every single time you start a cold engine after an oil change on a schedule most drivers never think twice about. Next, we'll show you why a little leftover oil doesn't actually save you here. Step 2. Why a little leftover oil isn't enough. The most common pushback to this concern goes something like, "There's still oil left on the bearings from before, so it's fine." This sounds reasonable on the surface. A bearing surface that was coated in oil 2 minutes ago doesn't suddenly turn bone dry just because you drained the pan. There's a thin, clinging layer left behind on virtually every internal surface. This is also where the science gets misunderstood, because that residual film and actual running lubrication are two completely different physical processes. Yes, there is a thin film of residual oil clinging to the bearing surfaces after you drain the old oil. But proper engine lubrication doesn't work on a thin, static film sitting still. It works on something called hydrodynamic lubrication, where oil under pressure is continuously pumped between the bearing and the crankshaft, creating a wedge of pressurized fluid that physically keeps the two metal surfaces from ever touching, even though they're spinning at thousands of RPM just thousandths of an inch apart. That pressurized wedge is dynamic. It has to be actively maintained by flow and pressure, not just present as a coating. A thin residual film cannot create that pressurized wedge. It can slow down metal-to-metal contact slightly, buying a fraction of a second of partial protection, but it cannot prevent it entirely. The moment the crankshaft starts spinning hard and there's no oil pressure pushing fluid into that gap, the film gets squeezed out almost instantly, physically displaced by the load and rotation. And you're left with bare metal sliding against bare metal for however many seconds it takes the pump to build real pressure. Mechanics who have torn down dozens of engines over the years report the same physical evidence. The telltale scratch marks on bearing surfaces, even on bearings that are otherwise still in good condition and well within spec, are concentrated specifically in the pattern you'd expect from the first 4 to 5 seconds of cranking, not from thousands of miles of normal driving afterward, when oil pressure is fully established and the hydrodynamic wedge is doing its job exactly as designed. Next, we'll show you the simple rule lubrication engineers actually use to judge this. Step 3. The 4 rules of proper lubrication. Inside the lubrication engineering field, There's a simple framework professionals use to evaluate whether an engine is actually being protected, sometimes called the 4 R's: the right oil, the right place, the right time, and the right amount. This isn't an internet rule of thumb. It's a foundational concept used by certified lubrication specialists and tribologists to diagnose exactly where a maintenance practice is failing an engine, even when nothing looks obviously wrong on the surface. Skipping pre-fill doesn't change the oil you're using. It's the same bottle, the same viscosity, the same additive package either way. The right oil part of the equation is fully satisfied regardless of when the filter gets filled. What it changes is everything else. If the filter has to fill itself before oil reaches the engine, you're compromising the right time. Oil arrives several seconds later than it could have, at the exact moment the engine needs it most. You're compromising the right place. For those seconds, oil isn't where the bearings actually need it, no matter how much oil is sitting in the pan below. And you're compromising the right amount. For that brief window, the amount of oil actually reaching critical surfaces is effectively zero, not the full volume your engine is designed to run on under normal operating pressure. That's 3 out of 4 principles, broken by one decision, made worse every single time you change your oil for the entire life of the vehicle. Multiply that by however many oil changes a car receives over a 150,000 or 200,000 mile lifespan, and what looks like a few harmless seconds becomes a recurring stress event repeated dozens of times across the engine's service life. Not a single isolated incident, but a pattern baked into the maintenance routine itself, unless someone deliberately changes the habit. Next, we'll show you real lab proof of what this actually does to a bearing. Step 4. Real-world evidence. What happens to an unprimed engine? This isn't just theory, there's documented real-world evidence of what an unprimed dry start does to an actual engine, from oil analysis performed during a real engine break-in. The kind of evidence that doesn't rely on anyone's opinion because it comes straight from a laboratory report. When that engine was started for the first time without the filter pre-filled and without the system primed beforehand, the very first oil sample taken showed measurable amounts of copper, tin, and lead, the exact metals that bearing material is made from. That's not a theoretical risk described in a textbook. That's physical bearing material worn off and suspended in the oil detected through laboratory analysis after a single dry start on an engine that had barely run any distance at all. A second oil change later, the level had dropped, but it was still present. The bearing had already been damaged in those first seconds, and the evidence kept showing up in the oil for the following service interval, slowly clearing out as the worn material got filtered and flushed over subsequent miles. The trend was the right direction, but the damage that produced those readings in the first place had already happened and couldn't be undone after the fact. The fix that resolved it: physically forcing oil into the system before that engine ever ran again, however inconvenient that filter's design made it. Once the system received oil in the right place at the right time, the bearing material readings disappeared from later analysis entirely, confirming that the wear wasn't an ongoing problem with the engine itself, but a one-time consequence of exactly the seconds this entire discussion is about. That distinction matters. It means the damage was preventable, not inevitable, and it was caused entirely by a maintenance choice rather than a defect in the engine's design or manufacturing. Stay with us. If you're not bored yet, the next part explains exactly why some filters make this harder than others and how to check your own car. Step 5. Why some filters make this harder than others. Check your own car. Here's the detail most advice on this topic skips entirely. Not every oil filter can be pre-filled the same way, and whether yours can depends entirely on its design. This is genuinely the only part of the don't pre-fill argument that has any real mechanical basis, just not for the reason most people online claim. Traditional spin-on canister filters, the kind that look like a metal can you twist on by hand, are usually mounted facing upward or at a manageable angle, often positioned somewhere accessible on the side of the engine block. On these, pre-filling is simple. Fill the canister with fresh oil before threading it on, and gravity does the rest, holding that oil in place while you spin the filter onto the housing. Cartridge-style filters, increasingly common on Toyota, Subaru, and several European platforms as manufacturers move toward more recyclable, lower-waist designs, work differently. The filter element sits inside a permanent housing built into the engine, and depending on the vehicle, that housing can be mounted sideways or even facing downward. If your specific filter housing is mounted horizontally, physically pouring oil in and having it stay there before you seal the housing is sometimes genuinely impossible. There's nowhere for the oil to sit before gravity pulls it straight back out and onto the floor of your garage instead of into the engine. This is exactly the obstacle behind certain hard-to-prime engines that mechanics run into during testing and rebuilds. Not a flaw in the pre-fill theory itself, but a real mechanical limitation that depends entirely on your engine's specific filter orientation. Check your filter's housing before your next oil change. If it sits upright, pre-filling takes 15 extra seconds and meaningfully reduces your dry start window. If it's mounted sideways or downward facing, that option may not exist for your engine at all, and the manufacturer's engineers already knew that when they designed it, which is part of why automakers continue researching alternative priming systems instead of relying purely on filter orientation. Next, the actual lab test that settles the dirty oil debate for good. Step 6. The lab test, settling the dirty oil myth. Now to the specific claim that pre-filling is actually bad, the idea that the oil inside a sealed bottle before it ever touches your engine is somehow dirty and shouldn't go anywhere near your filter until it's been through the system first. This is the version of the myth that spreads fastest in comment sections because it sounds intuitively plausible. Oil sitting in a plastic jug on a store shelf feels less clean than oil that's been through a brand new filter element designed specifically to trap contaminants. To test this directly, fresh oil straight from a sealed container was sent to a lab for an ISO cleanliness particle count, a standard widely used test that measures exactly how many microscopic particles of a given size exist in a sample of oil, broken down across several size categories. The smaller the number in each category, the cleaner the oil. This is the same kind of testing used industrially to certify hydraulic fluids and industrial lubricants, not a homemade or unreliable measurement. A second sample was taken from inside an engine that had been primed and turned over with an empty oil filter installed, meaning oil had been pumped through an unprimed, previously used engine before the engine had ever actually run under power or combustion. This sample represents exactly the oil that would be sitting in your bearings during a real dry start, captured and tested before any actual driving had taken place. The results were the opposite of what the dirty bottled oil theory predicts. The oil straight from the sealed container came back measurably cleaner across every particle size category tested than the oil pulled from inside the engine. The difference was most dramatic in the largest particle category. The count of larger particles, the kind most likely to actually cause measurable wear on bearing surfaces and other tight tolerance components, was roughly 6 times higher in the sample taken from inside the engine than in the sample taken straight from the bottle. In other words, the oil you're pouring out of a sealed container, fresh from the manufacturer, has already been filtered during production, often through fine industrial filtration before it's ever packaged. It is not the dirty variable in this equation, and treating it as a contamination risk gets the entire premise backwards. The dirtier sample every single time this kind of test has been run was the oil that had already been sitting inside an engine. Next, here's exactly what to do with this information at your next oil change. Step 7. What this means for your next oil change. Put all of this together and the picture is straightforward. Skipping pre-fill doesn't protect your engine from dirty oil. Fresh oil from a sealed container is demonstrably cleaner than what's already inside your engine, confirmed by lab analysis rather than assumption. Skipping pre-fill does, however, extend the number of seconds your engine runs with insufficient oil pressure during every single cold start. And that's the exact window where the overwhelming majority of long-term bearing wear actually happens, according to engine rebuilders who have torn down enough motors to see the pattern directly. The only legitimate reason not to pre-fill isn't a chemistry concern at all. It's a mechanical one. And it only applies if your specific filter's housing makes it physically impractical, like a cartridge mounted sideways or facing down where there's simply nowhere for poured oil to sit before installation. For everyone with a standard upright spin-on filter or an upright cartridge housing, the action is simple. Before installing your new filter, fill it with fresh oil from the same container you're about to pour into the engine. If you want extra peace of mind, run it through a clean paint strainer first. Not because the oil needs it, since the lab results already confirmed it doesn't, but because it costs nothing and removes any lingering doubt while you're standing there with the bottle in hand. Just make sure the funnel and any tools touching that oil are clean themselves, since a dirty funnel stored next to a grinding bench or sitting open on a workbench can introduce exactly the kind of contamination the oil itself never had in the first place. 15 extra seconds during your next oil change. That's the entire cost of giving your bearings oil pressure from the moment the engine turns over, instead of leaving them to fend for themselves during the seconds that matter most. Seconds that, repeated over hundreds of oil changes across a vehicle's lifetime, add up to a measurable difference in how long an engine's bearings actually last. Next, why this entire debate has actually been settled by engineers for decades. Step 8. Why this debate isn't new and why it matters more than it sounds. It's worth understanding that this isn't a brand new argument invented for a YouTube comment section. Engineers have been aware of the dry start problem for decades, long before any of this became a debate playing out online. Patent filings going back to the 1980s describe engineers trying to design auxiliary pre-lubrication systems specifically to solve this exact issue. Systems that would pressurize oil before the engine ever turned over, eliminating the dry start window entirely rather than just shortening it with a pre-filled filter. Some of those patent filings estimate that a typical engine could last roughly 20% longer before wearing out if oil could be supplied immediately at startup, instead of waiting for the pump to fill the filter first. That's not a marginal number. On an engine that would otherwise last 200,000 miles, a 20% improvement is the difference between replacing it and driving it for another 40,000 miles beyond where it would have failed. Most production cars never got those auxiliary pre-lubrication systems. They added cost and complexity that automakers weren't willing to build into every engine on the assembly line, especially for a benefit that's nearly invisible to the average buyer comparing sticker prices on a dealer lot. But the underlying physics that justified researching them in the first place never went away. Pre-filling your filter by hand isn't as complete a solution as a dedicated pre-lubrication pump, but it's the simplest, lowest cost version of the exact same idea. Get oil into the system before the crankshaft starts spinning, instead of after. This is also why the people most insistent on pre-filling tend to be the ones who've actually opened up engines and looked inside. Rebuilders, racers running engines on tight tolerances, lubrication specialists who've spent careers studying exactly where wear comes from. It's rarely the casual commenter repeating a rule they read somewhere without ever tracing it back to a source. The gap between "this sounds right" and "this is measured and documented" is exactly the gap this entire discussion has been trying to close. The myth said, don't pre-fill because the oil is dirty. The data said the opposite. The oil in the bottle was the cleanest oil in the entire test, every single time the comparison was run. The only real question left for your specific car is whether your filter's housing physically allows it. Check the orientation before your next oil change, and if it sits upright, there's no good reason left not to fill it first. 15 seconds against years of bearing wear that's almost entirely preventable. That's not a difficult trade to make once you've seen the numbers behind it.